Hey guys, I'm just going to do a rant video. Just going to do a video about coming to live in Thailand, moving to Thailand, living in Thailand. And it's going to be very basic. I'll just make this the absolute basics for people who have no idea. They just think, oh, maybe I'll go and live in Thailand one day. This is all about that because there's a hell of a lot of information out there. This is really just to cover the basics in a broad sense, and then I might do more videos down the track that concentrates on, in more detail, etc. Or if somebody asks a specific question via the comments, I'll certainly answer them, or maybe even do a video to answer those comments. So I'm not covering working here, right? I'll just do a quick summary of working. There's a big list of jobs you can't do as a foreigner in Thailand. Driving a taxi, builder's labourer, serving in a shop. They're all Thai-only jobs, right? You can't just come and work in Thailand. You need a work visa, you need a work permit, you basically need a job. Right? A company has to give you a job that then gets you a work permit, gets you a work visa, etc., etc. So you can't just hop off a plane, get a work permit, then go looking for a job. It doesn't work that way. But that's all I'll say about that. There's a whole lot of stuff out there about getting jobs, and you would be involving a lawyer, or the company you work with would get you a visa and all that. Yeah. There's a lot of bit of misinformation out there about that. I've seen guys do videos that say working, social media posts, about working in Thailand. And they'll rattle on for 10 minutes about working in Thailand, but won't mention that you need a work visa and a work permit to do it. But yes, I won't cover that. This is to come and live in Thailand, right? And then I will break that down into two categories: under 50, over 50. So to start with, right, if you want to come and live here and you're under 50 years old, your options are somewhat limited. There's more options if you're over 50, but under 50, you can come here on a tourist visa, 1 month, 2 month stay, etc., and you have to leave Thailand again. What a lot of backpackers, people who are teaching English illegally, all that sort of thing, they keep coming in and out, in and out, in and out on their 1 month, 2 month stays, tourist visas and things. And eventually you get caught, you get nabbed, On your 27th in out of the country, the immigration officer will say, I think you may be working in Thailand, or, what are you doing going back and forward? And I can see the logic, right? Some 30-year-old kid, right, who's, just done 27 in-outs to Thailand, how are they supporting themselves? I'm not the immigration officer, but I would certainly ask that question. How are you supporting yourself at age 30 if you're not working in Thailand? So, yeah, suffice to say that you may be able to do it for a year, a couple of years. They have crackdowns, Eventually you'll get done, and you'll see posts on social media. I just got barred from entering Thailand, that sort of thing. So it's not a long-term option. You can stay a little bit doing those things. So under 50, your long-term options are an education visa or a volunteer visa. Sorry, just step back a bit. There are a couple other long-term options that I'll talk about at the end. There's upfront an elite visa that you can pay for, and of course you can be married to a Thai, which is another option. But this is for single people under 50. An education visa. So basically you enroll in school to learn Thai language, to learn Thai pottery, to learn whatever in a Thai school, even go to university. That gets you a yearly visa, a yearly stay. It used to be a free-for-all. You just enrolled in some college, got your visa, and never went to the college ever again. or school or whatever it is. I believe they now crack down on that a little bit. You know, they may even do a random visit to the school to make sure people are attending, etc. I've heard stories, I don't know how true, that if someone says they're studying Thai and this is their third year in a row they're enrolling for the school, the immigration officer is going to talk to them in Thai and say, hang on, you've been going to school for 3 years, why can't you speak Thai? So, yeah, it's an option, but it's not the free-for-all it used to be. The other one, if you're under 50, is volunteer visa, and that's it's not just a matter of you go down the street and decide to clean the beach up and you can stay here. You have to volunteer for a proper organisation, an NGO, a charity, a foundation. Yeah, there might be a teaching poor rural children English foundation or charity. You volunteer for that charity. They get you the permit, the work, the visa, the whole thing. It's all interlinked, yeah. I don't know that much about them. A lot of the agents and things. Oh, in Thailand, there's always an option to use an agent to make things easier, smoother, get around problems and things. A lot of the agents are offering these volunteer visas now. So I don't know, they've uncovered a loophole or something. But yeah, and again, I don't think they're the free-for-all they used to be. You used to sign up to, protect the rare endangered Thai fruit bat or something and work for that foundation, and you could stay for a year, renew every year. Now I believe there are checks and balances. Yeah, they might do a random visit to say, why, you may have to do a minimum of a couple of hours work a week to stay qualified, that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's your two options under 50. Over 50, of course you come into the retirement option, which is if you're over 50 years old, you can come and live in Thailand on, as retired. You get a visa either up front in your home country, or you come here on a tourist visa, you convert in country, and you end up on a yearly stay for retirement that you keep renewing every year. There's a couple of things. You have to put a chunk of money in the bank. It's still your money, but you have to have some money present in the bank. That runs, at the moment, I think it's about 25,000 US, has to sit in a Thai bank account. It has to be there a couple of months before you apply for your extension. Some of it, there's a minimum balance, has to stay in the bank for the rest of the year, that sort of thing. Again, as I mentioned, there's agents that can help with those situations, with the money in the bank, etc. Whether they're entirely illegal or legal, or a large chunk of the population use the agents and go down that track. To the point, I know an old guy here in my block who I was chatting to one day, and there's the immigration offices down the road, and next door is one of the agents that you can go in and pay a bit extra, and they'll sort out problems you may have with the immigration and things. This old guy mentioned something about the immigration office has new carpet, or they just painted it or something, and I'm thinking, huh? And turns out he's not talking about the immigration office, he's talking about the agent's office next door, which he presumed was immigration, because that's where he goes every year, that's where all his friends go every year. So, yeah, it's like most of Asia, there's always a option to pay, so we speak, to sort out the problems. Yeah, so over 50, you have the retirement visa option. Of course, you have married to a Thai and those options as well, but that's, I think if someone's married to a Thai, they're not looking at this video for information. They have the information already. So the over 50, they do play around with that, or they have in the past couple of years played around with the requirements. they've changed the amount of money you have to have in the bank and the time it has to be in the bank for. But it's still basically the same. If you came here 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you had to put a chunk of money aside to cover your ongoing visa renewal. You know, they've changed that a little bit, but it's still basically the same premise. All the visas in Thailand have more recently become subject to this TM30. You have to report your whereabouts to immigration. Yeah, it's always been a law and it's always been on the books, and to a certain extent it's been enforced. Even 10 years ago I can recall doing it. They've clamped down on that lately, so that's across the board for all visas. They have this, if you go and stay in someone's house, technically they're supposed to ring immigration or report to immigration and say, this foreigner's staying in my house, da da da. And if you're not visiting immigration, it doesn't really impact you. But if you start to visit immigration for an extension, for this, that, the other, they'll say, where's your piece of paper that shows you've been reported? So that's a lot of Westerners see this as, you know, the beginning of the end, and they hate us and they want us out. And it's just a cycle that Thailand goes through. They'll have some law on the books. It'll be enforced. 10 years later it gets forgotten, then it comes back and they enforce it again, and yeah, it's no great conspiracy to get rid of Westerners, as many would have you believe. As I said, there's another visa option that for of any age, if it's called an elite visa, where you can pay, I think it's $20,000 US, and this isn't money in the bank. This you pay this money and you never see it again. But that gives you a 5-year visa. Come and go as many times as you like. Yeah, you're buying a visa. It sounds like a lot of money, $20,000. Oh, I suppose it is. But for some people, they don't mind. It's a great option. There's no dramas. There's no hassles about keeping money in the bank or reapplying or any of that sort of thing. You know, and it comes with these benefits. You get a special lane at immigration you can go through. I think you get airport transfers. You get 10 a year, you know, a limo from the airport to home. I think you get golf club membership, all this sort of thing. So it's to attract a certain level of retirees. And yeah, that's always an option. If you've got the money, you can certainly pay that $20,000 and be happy as Larry. Yeah. It's, as I said, it sounds like a lot of money, but if you consider you're one of these people doing these in-outs on tourist visas all the time, you know, you come in for 3 months, you go out, you travel to Cambodia, Malaysia, somewhere, you stay a couple of days, you get another visa, you come back, you stay another 2 months, you do that. If you do that 3 or 4 times a year, and it's costing you 20,000 baht a trip, a couple $1,000 a trip, you know, taxis, airfares, hotels. If you're doing that 3 or 4 times a year, you're spending $100,000 a year, and the elite visa costs $500,000 for 5 years. So it may not be that different. You know, if you're trying to do the whole in-out and survive on tourist visas, not recommended, it may not be much more of an actual cost over the longer term. But yeah, that's always an option. There are another couple of visas, as in an investment visa, I believe. If you you spend 10 million baht, $500,000 in certain categories, into a business, into a certain properties, and I'd have to look it up, the actual details. But yeah, there's certain level of spending into Thailand will get you a visa as well, an investment visa. Couple of other visa options which probably no one would ever qualify for. There is a 10-year retirement visa, which I don't think anyone's ever taken it up. They brought out this 10-year option with a ridiculous amount of money in the bank and all sorts of insurance requirements. And yeah, I don't know that that's ever been taken up by anybody. But yeah, the main one is the retirement visa, that you're over 50, everyone comes here on the retirement visa, puts money in the bank to cover it, you renewal each year, and away you go. There's not much other criteria there. One of the points, if you got that retirement visa back in your home country, it was a slightly different visa because you got it before you left home. You came here, you could stay for a couple of years on that visa before you had to renew it and put money in the bank and all this sort of thing. And years years ago, it was the best visa. You had a couple of years, you didn't have to worry about anything, no money in the bank. Recently, they've tacked an insurance requirement onto that visa. You have to have X amount of health insurance to keep renewing that visa every year. So that's sort of made that visa now the one that nobody gets, because you come here, you get a visa in the country, then keep extending that. That doesn't require health insurance, etc. So what are you going to do? You're going to take the second option. It's yeah, I think that covers most of them. If you have a specific question, put it down in the comments and I'll certainly reply to it. If there's enough of a question, I can even make another video down there, give your circumstances and things like that. But as I said, this is a very basic overview. There's all sorts of little different nuances with the visas, and this one does that and that one doesn't do this, but that's the basic overview. So under 50, not a lot of choices, and over 50 you've got the retirement visa. Yes. All right, I'll leave it there. Hopefully that's a bit of information that helps people. Yes, and it's just told me I have to say like and share. So can you please like and share, and more than anything, as I said, ask questions. Yeah. I'll respond to every question that's asked and try and put up, if someone says a question and I think's got a pretty long-winded answer, I'll make it into another video. Yeah, so if you want to put your circumstances and a question or whatever. But yeah, so if you can subscribe, tell your friends. As I said, I'll try and do each one of these, try and go into the whole visas and that sort of thing in more detail. I can do a whole video on what they call the retirement visa, that over 50 visa, or a whole video on getting an education visa or a work visa, yeah. But anyway, I shall leave it there, and we shall talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay.